Looking at Mozart's Sonata in C, title, composer, and this is written for piano, so this is a piano sonata. A sonata is just a sound piece. So this is the first movement. The speed is here. Most of what we need is actually here. The speed is allegro. Allegro means fast or quick. The key is C because we have no sharps or flats in the key signature. And it also helps that it starts on C, but of course we know very well that we should rather look at the end of a piece and see that it ends on a C chord, which it does, C, E, and G, although it goes through a few twists and turns along the way. So the piece is in C, and in fact the first chord that we have is a C chord. And I think you'll recognize this style of accompaniment as Alberti bass. So this entire first section, first 4 bars, bar, 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 and bar, has Alberti bass accompaniment. The melody is in the right hand, and I need to explain that in piano music or any keyboard music, organ or anything like that, accordion, this means right hand, this means left hand. Now you'll notice that they are both in treble clef. That's fine, that just means that both hands are playing on the right side of the piano or a little bit higher. But this, whatever the clefs are, this will always be the right hand, this will always be the left hand. This marking here is a slur, which means it's all meant to be played legato or together, smoothly together. Sorry about all the bluing. This little TR means a trill, where on the piano you would go, and that's called an ornament. So that's something in the classical period and many other periods that they would add to add interest to the piece. You will have a recording as well that you can listen to. From bar 5, we have a sequence. And then it starts a little lower, then a little lower, then a little lower. So that whole section, plus this bit, sorry, that is a sequence. A sequence is the same musical idea repeated at lower and lower, or it could be higher and higher pitches, but that's what a sequence is. Here's an example where we actually change to the bass clef, and you'll see from now on we're in the bass clef, meaning the notes are lower. And these, because they're only 2 notes by themselves, are just intervals. The other note that's missing, Mozart's being so clever, is actually up here, C, E, G. So there's still chords overall, but in the left hand we just have these intervals. And it's interesting to note this repeated rhythmic pattern. So we have crotchet, 2 beats, rest, crotchet, crotchet, 2 beats, rest, crotchet, crotchet, and that continues. And then we have this run of mainly semiquavers. Starts with a quaver, ba, 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 and it continues to run and run and run in a scalic way, scalic like a scale. Sometimes there's little leaps, but most of the time it's stepwise, and I can tell it's stepwise because it goes from a space to a line to a space to a line to a space to a line. So that follows like a scale, scalic or stepwise. Up here, this marking meant legato, I can't quite highlight it, and that's smooth and connected. Its opposite is down here. These notes have little dots above them. The dots on the top or below, here's some examples of below, they're staccato. Staccato markings mean you play them detached. That doesn't actually change the speed. Bup, 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 bup. They're meant to be the exact opposite of smooth and connected like this. Incidentally, don't be confused because there are handwritten bar numbers in here just to save you from going through and finding the bar numbers. I may actually upload an updated score with more bar numbers. But there are also these tiny little numbers. Those are piano fingerings. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in piano. So don't be confused with those. Those are to help the player. The editor, J.A. Steele, has put them in to help the player to figure out how to do their runs correctly. Notice the dynamics. Piano dynamics always go in the middle of the 2 staves. So we started out softly, piano, and then we move to mezzo forte, and then that gets louder with a crescendo and gets softer with a decrescendo. And that happens for each of these in the sequence. And then when you have a crescendo that runs for a very long time, this means exactly the same thing, dot, 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 but it's just running for longer, and it's a different way to express exactly the same as this. And usually when you crescendo from somewhere, like mezzo forte, you want to get louder, and indeed it does. It crescendos to forte. And then he's even put the word legato here, the editor. I don't know what Mozart actually said. I don't have his handwritten score. But then we have a little sequence of semiquavers. So this is not one of the classical accompaniment styles. This is just semiquavers back and forth. But the melody continues here in the right hand. Here's an interesting section. Again, if you can listen through this with the score, it'll probably make a bit more sense. This is a little section where one voice, so we would call this a voice, left hand and right hand of the piano, each have their own independence, where one voice is followed by another voice. And we call this call and response. So they're different ideas. This one says ba, boo-doo-doo-doo, and answers ba-da-da-da, boo-doo-doo-doo, ba-da-da-da, boo-doo-doo-doo, ba-da-da-da. So this call and response goes back and forth between the left hand and the right hand. This is something that's kind of a la Mozart, but hasn't quite made it that far. And of course we recognize this as our Alberti bass coming back again. This is a wonderful, wonderful moment where we have the trill going on through this whole bar with then these two little notes at the end. And these are grace notes. These grace notes are written smaller than the other notes, and they're just a little flick that are thrown in there, again, as an ornament. And here, is as far as we'll go in this video, is a repeat bar. I'm actually going to zoom in on this puppy to make it really clear. Not the best ever scan, but the repeat bar is a double bar line, and if it has two dots pointed this way, there in both staves, then that means it's going to, imagine them as being rubber. Boing. It's going to bounce you all the way back until you either see that symbol here with two dots, or if you don't, then it means to go right back to the beginning. So this entire section, all the way up to these double bars, is repeated. And zooming in again, you'll see that it happens the same on the other side, where once you do get to this section, you've played this whole section twice, then you'll start from here and you'll play through until you see a sign that tells you to go back, which I'm hoping I will. There it is. And it's actually at the very end of the piece.